You're talking about asymmetrical warfare. But you know the thing that Israel doesn't remember, and which Israel has to know and must know, that winning a war is not about killing on an industrial scale the weakest among the population you are targeting, which Israel excels at, which is the essence of Zionism. Killing on an industrial scale the weakest among the population you are targeting, which Israel excels at, which is the essence of Zionism.
Killing on an industrial scale the weakest among the population you are targeting, which Israel excels at, which is the essence of Zionism.
Winning a war is about the largest amount of people being convinced of your viewpoint. If we use that metric to understand this war, Israel has lost in Gaza and it will lose in Lebanon because Israel has more enemies around the world than ever before. More people are critical of Zionism than ever before. More people understand it to be essentially an anti-life ideology, which is causing mass human suffering.
Shalom. Kahala Yahweh B'Shem Yahshai, B'Shem Ruach Kodash. Double honors my teachers, the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and mercy to the elect, who are the house of David reborn again in this generation. Shalom to the 130 Yasharallah, who today are known as the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, who before losing our true heritage were known as, and still are, the true Hebrew Israelites of the Holy Bible. In today's lesson, we're going to go ahead and go into a term that I heard from the beloved elder Manat Zakba from South Carolina, and he was making a video and exposing the Sakari Hebrew Israelite group for pretty much setting up a secret entertainment system to try to basically make merchandise out of this whole movement, and you Akim out there who are following them. So again, this is just a warning, but you gotta stop following that group, okay? They're not going to lead you down the right path. They're going to lead you to merchandise, entertainment, and folly, okay? With guns and all these crazy house of mirth mentality, but that's besides the point. I'm digressing. Back to the point. The elder made this beautiful point, right? He said something spiritual. He said, you can tell who's who by what they do. And that's so true. What does that remind you of? Well, it reminds you of this. This is Matthew 7:20. Wherefore, by their fruits ye shall know them. So the Messiah himself lets you know that, don't believe what a person says. Watch what they do. Okay? And in this truth of ours, coming back to our true heritage, one thing that we've been taught is that you gotta watch the spirit of people. Okay, this is how you can see certain things, right? When somebody shows you who they are, you gotta believe them. And in this case, like that rapper, which by the way, he's a British rapper. His name's Low Key. He's kind of like the Mos Def, but for over there in England, right? Really good guy. He's an activist, and he was on Piers Morgan, and he made a beautiful point, right? Calling out Amalek over there, Amalek being the true biblical name for these Israelis. Again, Amalek being the top tribe of Edom, so really they're Edomites, but specifically the top tribe of Edom, meaning these are the most Edomites, okay, who have stolen the identity of the true Israelites, that being the Negro, Latino, Native Americans. Well, like he said, they are known for attacking the weakest members of society, women, children, and the feeble. When I heard that, it sent alarm bells off in my mind, because I remember another scripture that in the Bible that records this exact trait amongst the Amalekites. They in fact did the same thing to us Israelites, the Negro, Latino, Native Americans, when we were coming out of Egypt. Let's actually read it real quick. This is Deuteronomy 25:17. Remember what Amalek did unto thee by the way, when ye were come forth out of Egypt, how he met thee by the way, and smote the hindermost of thee, even all that were feeble behind thee, when thou wast faint and weary, and he feared not God. Therefore it shall be, when Yahweh B'Shem Yahshai thy power hath given thee rest from all thine enemies round about in the land which Yahweh thy power giveth thee for an inheritance to possess it, that thou shalt blot out the remembrance of Amalek from under heaven. Thou shalt not forget it. And this is your reminder, Akim, you Negro, Latino, Native Americans, these Israelis, they are not our friends. They are our enemies. Okay? These are our adversaries who have stolen our identity and are using it as a cloak of maliciousness to do all that crazy shit they're doing over there right now. And the thing is like the Messiah said, like the beloved elder said, you shall know them by their fruits. You can tell who's who by what they do. Okay? And that's how you can tell that these devils there in the land of Israel today are not the biblical Israelites. They are the Amalekites who were doing the exact same thing back in the ancient times. That is their MO. That is their spiritual trait. Right? They attack the weak and the feeble. Right? Where else does it tell us this in the Bible about these Edomites? Well, let's go ahead and go to the curses that the Lord told us would fall upon us. We didn't follow His directions. This is He's talking here about the nation of people that He would bring against us. And here He is describing how horrible and abominable and wicked these people would be. This is Deuteronomy 28 and 50. A nation of fierce continents which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young. You know, I tend to, pride myself on being stoic and tough, mentally. And from what I've been watching, the blatant murder and genocide and obliteration of kids that you could see moving around on the floor, they're literally being shot, having their heads blown in, from hearing little girls on the phone with their relatives crying after the whole family's been killed off by Israeli snipers and talking about the tanks are coming, I'm scared, and eventually they kill them. It is beyond comprehension, beyond anything moral or human. It is inhuman what these Amalekites are doing. And that is because the Lord has tricked them into thinking that they are the chosen people. But they're not. These are the adversaries, not only to us Israelites, the true Israelites, the Negro, Latino, Native Americans, but to all of humanity. And the Lord is done with them. This is why the Lord is doing this. This is Jeremiah 49 and 10. But I have made Esau bare, I have uncovered his secret places, and he shall not be able to hide himself. His seed is spoiled, and his brethren and his neighbors, and he is not. Pretty much, he's a walking dead man. These people have no future. Their empire ends soon. Right? The Lord is on his way. World War III is about to break out, and the Lord is going to bring the terribleness of the nations upon these Edomites. Right? It's going to start there with Amalek, like it tells us in the scriptures, that the least of the flock shall draw them out. The least of the flock being these Amalekites, these Israelis, which are going to draw out the rest of these Edomites. So that way they can be destroyed, right? They could be, what does it say? The Lord has, I'm paraphrasing, but the Lord has set a snare, which they shall not be able to remove their neck. The Lord is setting these guys up for the okie doke, and they're falling right for it, right? Even now, they have made claims that they're going to retaliate for the Iranian bombings harshly. So they're not going to let it go, because you got to remember, Iran was retaliating for the horrible attacks that Amalek did upon the Iranians, soldiers and representatives there in Lebanon. And plus for the gruesome attacks upon Gaza. Well, that should have been it. Iran even told them that basically let this be it. But if you retaliate, then they're gonna go even further. And what did Edom say? They didn't back down. They said they're gonna react harshly. So this is it, Akim. World War III has started. Things are gonna get worse from here. This is why everything is going on right now. From the the introduction of the new digital system. This is why Bank of America went down today, just like Chase Bank went down a few months ago, because they're setting up the beast system in the background while everybody's being distracted by P. Diddy bullshit, which, you know, it has some truth to it, but that's all a moot point. That's not the main topic. That is what these devils are trying to distract you with, right? Whenever they're getting the spotlight shined upon them, these Amalekites, these Edomites, they toss a proverbial black sacrifice, right, an Israelite sacrifice upon the altar, right? And they did it to Bill Cosby, R. Kelly, right? Who else they do? There's so many Jakes that got freaking thrown under the bus, so that way people would stop looking at Edom. Well, that shit ain't working no more, man. Right? Everybody knows that it's these Edomites. Again, the Lord has made Esau bare. So much so that people aren't falling for their bullshit, their Holocaust propaganda. It isn't working anymore. This is why you had that fucking fucknut over there, Sturmer, the PM, talking about how they're going to force educate the children with Holocaust propaganda, regardless if they want to or not. Because Amalek and Edom are panicking. They need to turn back on the propaganda to 100%, because they're losing the information war, as that witch Hillary Clinton has said. But again, it's not going to be something that they're going to be able to recover from. This is it. Their kingdom is over. They just don't realize it yet. In fact, let's watch this to show you how the Lord is revealing these Amalekites for who they are.
Then he gets into, by the way, we should show that page where he speaks about the conversions that were happening
And she's talking about Kamala Harris's father's lineage. Okay, we all know that the true lineage of a person goes by their father's line, right? In accordance to Numbers 1 and 18, you are what your father is, right? The Y chromosome. Let's continue.
In the book. Yeah. So as this guy is kind of going through all of this and speaking about how, this book, A Record of the Jews in Jamaica, is the title of it. As he's speaking through all of this, he speaks about why it was that so...
And real quick, when it says Jews in Jamaica, this is talking about the Amalekites in Jamaica. This is not talking about the true Jews in Jamaica. The true Jews in Jamaica are the what you would refer to as the native Jamaicans, right? The so-called black people there in Jamaica. Those, they're not technically Jews. They're technically the tribe of Benjamin, right? But Benjamin, Levi, and Judah, in the time of the Romans, when it was only the southern kingdom there left in Israel, they all were lumped together and all referred to as Jews or Judeans.
Many Hebrew residents in the St. Anne parish began converting or marrying, and what is of interest regarding Joseph Bravo Harris is the fact that, look at this, the Hebrews resident from the same book in St. Anne parish assembled for divine worship on Yom Kippur at the home of Joseph Harris at Brownstown. I was credibly informed that the room Harris appropriated for the service, which was during his lifetime, was never used for any other purpose. Harris was an English Jew. He came here from New Orleans, Louisiana. Again, another coordinate that just keeps popping up. And then the author writes, I have not been able to ascertain the provision for worship that was made in any of the other parishes. St. Elizabeth must, however, have had organized worship during the 18th century. It is very pleasing to record that at no time since the Reform movement assumed practical form during the 19th century has religious persecution in the island reached so acute a stage as to at all render it possible for the setting up a Reformed congregation, as was the case in some of the neighboring islands, thus to save many on this account from leaving their ancestral religion. So he's just kind of going through all of this, speaking about how some people left the faith, and he says that he's inclined to believe that they did that because they just didn't like the rabbinical Judaism with its unyielding laws and just kind of wanted to marry into other families and become Christian. But that is of interest here. So again, if we can get up that family chart, we're speaking now about Joseph Bravo Harris, and he believes that this is the father of Joseph Alexander Harris. So
right here you got Harris, Kamala Harris. You got her supposed black father, who really he's an Indian, right? Because his father was his mom's Indian, and his grandpa, he was an English soldier, right, or an Irish soldier. But what she's finding out, that not only was he an Irish soldier that was down in India suppressing the Indians back when England, right, Edom was oppressing the Elamites, but that his father's lineage, all the way back here to Ralph Harris, he was an Amalekite, a so-called Jewish man. So that means if the great-great-great-grandfather is a Jewish man, that means that the children, all from this lineage here, are all Amalekites. Amalekite, 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 Amalekite. Kamala Harris is a so-called Jew. She is an Amalekite. She is an Edomite of the Bible. So Candace Owens is right. Janet Jackson is right. The majority of Americans are correct in saying that she is not a so-called black woman. She is an Amalekite. And trust you that this bitch knows. Trust that the people who are behind her, that have set her up, along with Claudia Sheinbaum over in Mexico, that they set her up, that they set up Milei up, that they set up Zelensky up. This is Amalek taking over the world, Akim. It is plain to see. This is the bareness of Esau being shown to the entire world. And it's beautiful that the Lord is using Candace Owens to reveal this. Right? Because why? But I have made Esau bare. I have uncovered his secret places. This, Kamala Harris, is Amalek's secret place. Okay? I highly recommend, regardless if you like Candace Owens or not, I highly recommend you watch her series, Akim. Yeah, she goes off on a lot of shit, but there's a lot of meat in the information she gives. Specifically this right here. She shows you how Amalek is conniving his seed into every which way he can get into. Okay? This is Daniel 12:10. Many shall be purified and made white and tried, but the wicked shall do wickedly, and none of the wicked shall understand, but the wise shall understand. We're there in the end, Akim. The Lord has played a grand symphony throughout all of human history, and we're now at the crescendo. This is the very end that the Lord is going to bring out all the stops. You know, like when you're watching a movie or a play, and you have throughout the whole movie or the play, things have just been building up, and then now at the end, things are now all the special effects and all the best fight scenes and the best action scene. This is it. We are in that moment, Akim. And if you are a Negro, Latino, Native American, or your father's lineage goes back to that bloodline, we are on the side that wins. So consider ourselves blessed. And if you are awoken to this truth, which 1 out of every 3 Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, and anybody whose father's lineage goes back to that bloodline will be awoken. You are blessed to know what's going on, to see the truth that has been hidden from the beginning of time. Right? This is that grand mystery that will be speaking at the end time, as it tells us in Daniel, right? That the things written down are appointed for the end, and at the end they shall speak. You know, paraphrasing. So either way, Akim, it is exciting times. I wanted to highlight that spiritual aspect of Amalek, right? How those devils, they always go after the weakest portions of their enemies. Just like they're doing now, they did it all the way back to us when we were coming out of Egypt, man. They attacked the elderly, the young. It's even a character recognition of their nation from the Lord, okay? Showing that they would not regard the old or the young. So again, like the elder said, man, you can tell who's who by what they do. So hopefully this video was edifying, Akim. Until next time, I want to give all honor and glory and praises to Yahweh, Ba'Shem, Yahushai, Ba'Shem, Ruach, Shalom. Oh, and by the way, if you haven't, subscribe to the Elders channel. please do yourself a favor. This man is one of the prophets of the Bible. Come back. It is plain to see. I don't know who he is, but the Spirit is working with this man in a way that it's divine, the way he explains things. Okay, Akim? Follow this man. If you are not following him, you got to do yourself a favor and follow his channels, okay? So, till the next time, Akim, Shalom.